Here are the reasons for Joel's death in The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2, which is among the most terrible events in the series. In Season 1 of The Last of Us, Joel was the primary character, with Bella Ramsey's Ellie and Pedro Pascal's character serving as the subject of the first story. The rest of The Last of Us plot has been drastically altered by Pedro Pascal's Joel's death in the second episode, so it appears that he won't be nearly as significant in Season 2. Joel and Ellie return for what initially appeared to be another journey in The Last of Us Season 2. Joel's major lie from the Season 1 finale is probably the reason why Ellie and Joel have drifted apart in the 5 years since Season 1 of The Last of Us. Sadly, Abby stepped in before Joel and Ellie could reconcile because she wanted to exact revenge on Joel for her father's passing. Many people are shocked by how early in the season Joel's death occurs, which occurs at the end of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2. Joel passed away just 2 episodes into Season 2 of The Last of Us, which may seem early, but it was necessary for the plot to work at this time. The plots of the HBO series and the computer game are pretty similar in The Last of Us Season 2, which is an adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. Joel's death at the beginning of The Last of Us Part 2 prompts Ellie to seek retribution. The game follows Ellie and Dina as they go to Seattle, Washington, to track down and murder Abby in order to get revenge for Joel's passing. Ellie will likely be followed on this voyage for the remainder of The Last of Us Season 2, traveling across the country in a manner identical to Joel and Ellie's in Season 1. The Last of Us Part 2's themes center on the perils of retaliation, as Ellie's hate of Abby drives her to cause various forms of damage throughout the narrative. It takes a while for the plot to develop as Ellie and Abby's resentful spirits are contrasted with one another. Joel's untimely death is not exclusive to HBO's The Last of Us. It also happens surprisingly early in The Last of Us Part 2, which has a far longer plot. Joel dies just a few hours into The Last of Us Part 2, right after the first major action scene in the game. The players are taken by surprise when Ellie is playable for most of the game after his death. The events surrounding Joel's death in The Last of Us Part 2 and Season 2 are remarkably similar. Both retellings include events such as Abby becoming trapped behind the fence, Joel rescuing her, and the group returning to Abby's ski lodge. Some things have changed, though, including Joel going on patrol with Dina instead of Tommy. The timing of Joel's death in The Last of Us Season 2 is essentially the same, despite some minor elements being altered. Craig Mazin, the showrunner of The Last of Us, has already spoken with Deadline about the difficulties in adapting the contentious tale of The Last of Us Part 2. Mazin claims that the adaptation of this narrative was difficult because it had to meet audience expectations, respond to criticism, and make adjustments. His complete remarks are as follows. I was afraid. Most likely Neil wasn't. Mark Mylod and I were simply in a frenzy because we were aware of how high the bar was. This game moment is quite remarkable, and we're approaching it nearly identically, with some intriguing variations, which is usually a little unsettling. I don't know, we were really anxious as we tried to hit that bar. Since Joel's death was obviously going to be a challenging topic for the HBO series to portray, many fans of The Last of Us were interested in seeing how the show handled it. But Mazin wants viewers to know that the team takes The Last of Us very seriously, adding, "This episode is upsetting to me, too. All I want people to understand is that we are not giggling here. We're with them."